Hey everyone, welcome back to Damn Tasty Vegan. So grocery prices are so high right now. So what we're gonna do this week is do a budget-friendly, plant-based meal prep, and we're gonna save some money, and we're gonna save some time, and we're gonna cook some delicious food. We're gonna make a West African sweet potato peanut stew, a yellow lentil dal recipe, and some tofu tacos. And for breakfast, I'm gonna meal prep just some quick overnight oats to have on hand so I'm not starving in the morning. So none of these recipes will cost you an arm and a leg. They're all made out of staple, affordable, easy to find ingredients. All right, so let's get cooking. So the very first thing you want to do is cook the thing that's going to take the longest, or something that you can kind of just like throw in a pan and not have to mess with. So with this meal prep, that's going to be your grain. So I have some quinoa on hand that I got from Costco for a really good price. So I'm going to do quinoa for my grain for the week. So make sure if you're cooking quinoa or any grain really, then you want to rinse it really well beforehand. And then I'm using my Instant Pot. It's got a quinoa setting on it. You can also use a rice cooker. You can cook quinoa in a rice cooker. Cooks the same. And so I'm using 2 cups of quinoa and 3 to 4 cups of water. You can always add in some like veggie bouillon paste or some salt if you want to season it a little bit. So just set the quinoa aside, and now we're going to move on to the stove and cook our yellow lentils and our sweet potato stew and our tofu tacos. So now we're gonna make the tofu black bean tacos, and I'm actually adding some mushrooms to this because I have some mushrooms in there from last week that I need to use up. So you can either just use plain tofu in this, it tastes really good, or you can add black beans like I did. Super cheap way to add some more protein, fiber, minerals. So first we're gonna start by just oiling a pan, letting it heat up, and I already chopped up all my ingredients beforehand, so by the time I get to the stove, it's all ready to go. It's so nice to cook that way. Oh, I guess I should start the heat. Here we go. Bam, I'm a professional. So I prepped my tofu already. You don't really need to use a tofu press for this because we're gonna crumble it in this anyway. So I just took it out of the package and then squeezed out the liquid right in the sink. So it's okay if it breaks a little bit. It's totally fine. Pan's feeling hot. Let's add in the onion. There it goes, there she blows. So now it's just all about throwing it all into a pan. That's it. Gonna let these onions saute. So we got these lovely caramelized onions. Now we're gonna cook these mushrooms. Again, you don't have to add these. I'm just adding them because they were going bad in my fridge and nobody likes to waste food. I'm not gonna add the garlic until later because I want it to have a big, nice garlic flavor, and when you add it at the beginning, it can kind of cook away the garlic flavor. Right, our mushrooms are looking so good. It smells so good. Okay, now it's time for the tofu. Just crumble it up. Make sure your hands are washed because you're getting your hands in your food. This is when I like to add some garlic too. I need to use this garlic up, so I'm adding a lot of garlic in there. Now basically it's just a matter of warming up the tofu, because tofu doesn't really need to be cooked, it just needs to be warmed up. And we're gonna season this baby up. Oh, I forgot. Oh, I have some black beans too to add to this. So you can add in beans, black beans, kidney beans, pinto beans would be good too. Hi, kitty cat. Hi, kitty cat. Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah. It's her dinner time, too. Just feed me, please. Now, it's super easy to season. Taco seasoning, kind of dark, but taco seasoning from Costco. It's just like $5 for this gigantic thing. It's been lovely to have on hand, and it's got really good ingredients in it, just the spices and no added extra bullshit. This is half a teaspoon, so I had about 2 teaspoons worth of seasoning in there. Add that in, and then you can add in garlic powder too. I also got this from Costco. Super cheap. I use it all the time. I like to get my spices in bulk that I use all the time, like garlic powder, onion powder, chili powder. I'm adding a little bit of liquid just to get things mixed up really well. I'm gonna add some more taco seasoning. This is gonna make a lot of tacos. You can make burritos out of this too. You could make taco salad or like burrito bowls. Then I always like to add some soy sauce to my taco mixture. It helps to add like a nice umami flavor, savory, rich, salty umami flavor. Set this aside if you're not eating this right now, and you don't even have to cook it all the way. Just warm it up when you're ready to eat it. And then you can top this with some salsa, some lettuce if you've got it. You can make a cashew cream. This is full of protein. You got the beans and the tofu in there, and that's it. That's all that is to that. That's it. There you go. You're welcome. All right, let's move on to the next meal. All right, so we've got our quinoa or our grain cooking. So now we're gonna get to our yellow lentil dish. This is so easy, so quick, so healthy. So first we're going to saute some onions. I already have them pre-chopped before I started cooking. Save me a ton of time once everything gets going. And we're gonna let that cook for a minute. And now that these have had a chance to kind of cook a little bit, this is optional. I just happen to have these mustard seeds and cumin seeds, whole seeds, on hand because I have an Indian grocery store nearby me, and that is like the cheapest place to get ground spices and whole spices, and I love cooking Indian dishes, so I always like to have like a well-stocked seasoning covered. So this is optional, you don't have to add this. This will just add a little more flavor. I really love mustard seeds in lentil dishes. So good, it adds a nice texture too. And again, you don't have to go out of your way to buy this. It's not necessary unless you like to make Indian dishes all the time. I'm just gonna let like the whole spices, the mustard seed and the cumin seed kind of cook for maybe like 30 seconds. And then we're gonna add our seasoning. So I've got turmeric, coriander, and cumin. You can also just use like a generic curry powder if that's what you have on hand. Just use what you have on hand. Again, don't go out of your way to like buy one-off seasonings that you're never going to use again. And now I'm going to temper the spices. This will help like develop the flavor of the spices a little bit more, help get rid of their bitterness. And now this is when I like to also add in my ginger. So I shredded up some ginger. I don't even bother peeling it. And some garlic. And we're just gonna cook this just a little bit just to get things aromatic. Ooh, it smells so good already. It smells so good. All right, now it's time for the star of the show. We've got our yellow lentils. These are so cheap at the Indian grocery store. If you don't have yellow lentils, you can use red lentils. And always, always, always rinse your lentils before you cook them, because there could be little like stone pebbles in there. There's just like this dust over it that like it'll just make it not taste as good if you don't rinse them. So rinse your lentils beforehand. And then I'm going to start with 3 cups of vegetable broth and kind of see how that goes. Maybe add more if needed. Ooh, sizzle, sizzle. So instead of buying a carton of vegetable broth, a cheaper alternative is to get like the veggie bouillon cubes. You can get like a big thing of that for the price of 1 carton of vegetable broth. And this is like 8 cubes. Yeah, so you get 8 servings as opposed to 1 for like probably less than the price, if not the same. This is a vegan beef bouillon cube. Also have a vegan chicken flavored. So what I do is I just dissolve some bouillon cubes in some hot water and use that as my veggie broth. It's way more affordable than buying a carton of veggie broth. Now we're gonna add the tomatoes as well, just a can of diced tomatoes. Cover it up, bring it to a low simmer. Let this bad boy cook until the lentils are cooked. It's nice and smooth. And let's cover this up and bring it to a simmer and let it cook for about 20 minutes or so. That's it. All right, so while our yellow lentils are cooking, let's move on to the sweet potato peanut stew. This is a West African peanut stew. So that is the origin of this recipe. It's one of my favorite recipes to make. I make it probably every week, every other week. It's so filling, so comforting, so delicious. And so we got some oil in there and we're going to saute some onions. And again, with meal prepping, it really helps to prep your ingredients beforehand. Ooh, this kitchen smells so dang good. So I'm trying out different angles in this kitchen. I've got a small kitchen and I'm still 3 years later trying to figure out how to Got a film in it. Now we're gonna add in the rest of that ginger that I minced up. And we're gonna add in our seasoning. So I'm adding in a teaspoon of cumin, a teaspoon of cinnamon, a little bit of hot pepper because I like it spicy. And that's it. We're gonna temper with seasonings just for about 30 seconds. That will. And now we're adding about 3 peeled and diced sweet potatoes. The flavor combo in this is so freaking good. And then to sweeten this up a little, we're adding 2 teaspoons of brown sugar. And 2. And now we're adding some water or vegetable broth. And I've got about 4 cups here, but I'm gonna see how much I need. You just need enough to kind of cover the sweet potatoes. And now we're gonna cover that and let the sweet potatoes cook, and then we're gonna add the rest of the ingredients when that's cooked. We're gonna add in the kidney beans, maybe some tomatoes. Wait, I forgot the tomatoes! Can't forget the tomatoes! So we added in the sweet potatoes and the water. Now we're gonna add in a can of diced tomatoes. And now we're gonna turn up the heat a bit and let this simmer. Maybe 15 minutes. Oh, I forgot the garlic. Can't forget the garlic. No! I'm gonna add the garlic too. This is about 2 to 4 cloves of garlic. And I'm gonna season this after. I'm gonna kind of like let this cook, and then I'm gonna taste it at the end and add salt if it needs it, which it probably will because I'm not using any veggie broth. So let's cover this up, let it cook, and now we've got 2 dishes cooking on the stove. Look how efficient we are, holy crap. All right, so now the sweet potatoes have cooked down, or just softened up a bit, and now it's time to add our kidney beans. So we've got some dark red kidney beans that I drained and rinsed. I love kidney beans. Woo! Whoop, whoop, whoop. Kidney beans are probably one of my favorite beans. And now, peanut butter time, yay! Okay, so what helps the peanut butter to dissolve a bit, because if you just put it in the stew, sometimes it'll just like stay this big kind of lump. So take some of the hot broth out, separate it from the stew. And then we're gonna take 2 tablespoons of creamy peanut butter in it. So it helps for the peanut butter not to stick to your spoon if you get your spoon a little bit wet. So about 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. Now we're gonna stir it up a little bit really gently. You don't wanna splash this hot shit on your face, and just let it dissolve a bit. It's gonna like kind of break apart a little bit, but that's okay. The more you stir it, it eventually kind of smooths out. We're gonna add that back in. So I seasoned the sweet potato peanut stew with a little bit of salt. I tasted it and it needed a little salt, so I added that. And with the lentils, I'm gonna add some lemon at the very end. I think lentils just taste so good with lemon. It helps brighten up the flavor. And these are both served over your grain of choice. So for me, that's my quinoa. And you can top these both with cilantro. Actually, I have some cilantro in the garden. I think there's some left. So we've got our 3 meals that can be eaten for lunch or dinner. You can kind of interchange them. How good does that feel to have all that done? You're good for the week.
All right, let's make some quick overnight oats. So I vary up my flavors every time, but lately I've been really loving some maple syrup in there, raisins. Sometimes I add walnuts if I have them on hand, but I think I didn't do that this time. And then some vanilla extract in there. Almond extract is really good in there too. It tastes like cake batter when you add almond extract. And then some sort of nut butter like peanut butter or almond butter, but I usually get peanut butter because almond butter is stupidly expensive. And then just fill it up with your non-dairy milk of choice, and then just make sure you like stir it up really well before you put it in the fridge. And that's it. This is great to like take with you on the go if you're running out the door in the morning, and I love it. It's so delicious.
So that's our meal prep for the week. I hope that this video helped you out, that it saved you some time, and now you've got a fridge full of healthy, delicious, amazing food. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. All of the recipes that are on the blog will be linked in the description box, so click on that. And I will see you all in the next video.